Listen up, let's get moving, folks. Hopefully everybody got all the information back there. Hopefully everybody got the information in the back. There's a lot of good stuff that we can't get to today, but if you do the surveys and you fill out the things on the names and all that stuff, we got somebody back there explaining it, then hopefully we can get something done in the future mass sessions. So, call to order, flag salute, I guess. Let's do it. Shannon, you do the flag salute? Oh.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Okay. Next is approval of the agenda.
No.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second? We approved and...
Second.
Second? Okay, good, thank you. All right, I'm going to make this, go ahead.
The mission statement and moment of
Oh,
silence.
yeah, she's, mission, a statement, and moment of silence. Let's take some time and think about the troops. What's going on is unbelievable. I spent 31 years in the military. I've been in the Middle East. I'm worried about those kids back there, and I think we just need to take some time and, pray for the best. So let's go ahead and do it. Okay, mission statement will be read by Tara.
M.A.T.H mission statement. The Middletown Area Town Hall was formed to operate as a true town hall, with everyone participating in voting. However, county officials required us to elect a board to conform with other advisory committees. Our bylaws specify that the assembly makes the decisions based on the vote of everyone present. The board encourages all members to give their opinions and vote on every matter before the assembly.
Thank you, Tara. Okay, I'm going to introduce myself real quick. I didn't ever...
We still need a second for the approval of the agenda, I believe.
we already did it.
Do we?
Yeah,
Nanette?
we already did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just a quick introduction to myself. I'm Charlie. I've been coming to these meetings since about 2015. I've seen a lot of wonderful people sit up here. Never wanted to have this job, but I got it. But I did do a lot of research. I talked to a lot of past folks, and I'm going to try to integrate as much as I can. Now, I've been with you guys for about a year. The first thing I want to do while I'm doing this is I will have special sessions to get stuff done. We didn't get anything done last year. I hate to say it. We didn't pass anything. We didn't finish any votes. All we did was talk. So this year, if you are willing to do more, and I can get 3 people, we can put some of these things on the agenda and we can knock them out. Okay? A little bit about myself. I spent 31 years in the military. I was a master sergeant in the Army, military intelligence, and infantry. I was also a Marine. If I come off kind of harsh or wrong, it's either from the fact I've been in too many battles. 1,217 days of war has given me a few concussions. So please bear with me. And I think this is a great day to start out because we got one of the biggest geniuses in the county here. If you got questions, slam her with anything you got, okay? She knows the answers, okay? All right. Can we save the public input until after the presentation? Is any?
I'll make a motion to jump the agenda to move paragraph 7 to 4 and put 4 at 7.
Sounds great. Let's just go ahead and do that because
Motion.
that's a motion. Oh, yeah. Okay, motion second. Good. All right, we're going to vacate this, and we're going to be out there like you guys, and we're going to be learning just like we do. You're up. Remember, don't let her go without asking her some questions. All right?
Don't you have to vote?
We gotta,
Don't you have to vote? You have to, yes, so, you have to vote on the motion. What happened?
Wow.
Done.
Okay.
Does someone
What
do
were you
those?
saying, Fletcher?
Two things. One, make a motion and second, have to vote on it.
You have to vote on it.
And secondly, I believe it'd be a lot easier for everyone if we could get the board to move to the audience and put my Ray up there so you can see everybody face to face and we can see their.
I already said that. Yeah, yeah, I already said that, Fletcher. Yeah, we're gonna vacate and we're gonna let Mariah up here. Yeah. Thank you, Fletcher.
Well, we need to vote on it. All those in favor?
All those
Aye.
in favor? Okay. All right, you guys need anything, just let me know. All right? I'll pass around the microphone.
While they're getting that set up, Thomas?
Hello. Excellent. Thank you. While they're getting that started, I'll introduce myself. I am not a genius. I am Mireya Turner, Director of Community Development. And also tonight we have our Deputy Administrator, Shannon Walker-Smith. We are on year 3 of a 3-year program to update the general plan and all 8 local area plans. And so we're very excited to be back. It's been a while because we've all been really busy behind the scenes writing the drafts of these documents that we're really excited to share with you tonight. I promised Shannon I would stick to the PowerPoint tonight, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, Tara. Next slide, please. Meeting overview. Oh. Okay, we're going to talk about all those things listed. We are updating the general plan, which is the community's vision for the county, both in countywide subjects as well as community area subjects.
There you go.
Awesome. The general plan is a long-range plan. It lasts for 20 years. Every year, or every 20 years, the state requires an update. Sometimes jurisdictions do updates like every 5 years, but so far Lake County has stuck to the 20-year plan. Now, not yet, Tara. When we started looking and preparing for doing this update, which is due to the state by 2028, we realized that all of the local area plans, and there are 8 different planning areas in the county. You'll see on that large map back there how we sliced it into 8 pieces of pie. All of those local area plans were outdated as well. And so you can't really have a county general plan, community vision for 20 years when all of these area plans and the community specific visions are outdated. And so we also thought about how people have been concerned that the planning division or the county government values the general plan over the local area plans. And so because of those 2 things, we decided to do an update of all of the documents at the same time. And not only that, but we're changing the framework of the general plan and integrating all 8 local area plans as chapters of the general plan. So we now have one comprehensive document that should help people understand that the vision that a community has for its planning area, like Middletown, is every bit as important as the county-wide elements in the general plan. Oh, I already said this part. So the second bullet point talks about a little bit of shifting that's gone on in our planning areas. The last the last 20 years, we had what's called the shoreline communities, which includes, if you're picturing the lake along 20, it's Lucerne all the way down Spring Valley, and as well as some parts of unincorporated Clear Lake. And then we had the Upper Lake and Nice plan just on its own as well. But when we talked to the communities in what's called the LAPAC meetings, the local area plan advisory committees that the board established to help have citizen oversight as we're going through this process, when we talked to the LAPACs and to the municipal advisory committees up there, they just sort of felt like Lucerne sort of more self-identifies as part of the Nice and Upper Lake areas. And so we're shifting that boundary just a little bit. And we also thought, let's not call it the Upper Lake Nice Lucerne plan. That's kind of silly. Let's call it the North Lake, and because it also includes Blue Lakes. And then the other areas, let's call that East Lake. And so you'll see a couple shifts in the boundaries as well as those two new names. Next slide, please, Tara. So this is the overall process that we've been doing for the last 2 years. We just branched out all over the county with an initial survey to understand what people thought were the key issues in our community. And a number of those key issues actually were the same, no matter where around the lake we were surveying people. People really care about our rural character, the beauty of Lake County and its rural nature and its natural resources, the quality, the water quality and health of Clear Lake, getting our kids to school safely, a small business community. We really like that. And although we recognize that we need more housing in Lake County, we don't want to look like Vallejo. We want to look like Lake County. We want to keep that small community character. And so maybe adding, relaxing our ability to have like an accessory dwelling next to a pizza place or your restaurant or that real estate office, something like that, but not, necessarily 100 apartments on top of mixed use like you'll see in the large urban areas, because that's just not who we are. We then, I'm taking long time. No wonder it took 47 minutes, huh? So we then also took our LAPACs through the existing local area plans and took our GPAC, the General Plan Advisory Committee, through the existing countywide chapters of the General Plan, took a look at everything that we had to work with over the last 20 years so we could identify what's outdated, what do we need to change, what do we really want to keep, what do we want to emphasize going forward. And then I identified also, through that process, we identified things that may be new in this one, as well as things that are outdated and can go away. We also restructured the local area plans as far as the subject matter that's covered in them, and I'll cover that in an upcoming slide. Next, please, Tara. We had a gob of community outreach. Boy, were we trying, you couldn't run away fast enough to outrun our surveys. And the LAPAC members really helped out a lot because they were encouraging input, passing out the QR code to get to the survey on lakecounty2050.org, which is the hub for the Lake County 2050 project. And it has all of our events as well as all the documents as well as surveys late at night when you're thinking about this, because I know everybody loves this as much as I do, and you think, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell them this really important nugget about my community. There's a link or a little opening window on the lakecounty2050.org website where you can enter that thought to make sure that we capture everything. We had, you're just walking me through this. Yeah, this is good. Okay, we also had stakeholder groups because everybody counts in Lake County. So we reached out to our Spanish-speaking population and had a really fun group there. The ag folks had their own specific meeting. And then we also had an environmental justice focus group. Environmental justice is a new chapter that's required by state law in all upcoming or going forward general plan updates. And this focuses on populations and communities that are typically disenfranchised or not consulted in land use decisions and development decisions. This could include our tribal communities, our senior communities, low-income communities, a number of different groups that historically, not necessarily in Lake County, but all over the states, end up in these conflicting situations, like when you're sticking your industrial plant right next to your elementary school, or you're creating this manufacturing that is polluting the air and affecting, high-end density housing right next door, things like that. And so that's why the state is requiring this new chapter to make sure that we're not leaving anybody behind, that everybody is getting their say, and that we're making an extra effort to reach out to the communities that we don't always hear from easily. And so because of that, we actually also integrated more significant time and concerted efforts into tribal input. You'll notice as you're reading these new elements, the public drafts, that there is a much more mentioning and inclusion of the way we value and protect tribal cultural resources, the way we're integrating tribal ecological knowledge into a lot of our environmental protection. And so it's become a big priority, as well as this one result that came out of our initial surveys that I found really interesting, and that is no matter where you are in the lake, residents are really interested in learning more about what happened right here 10,000 years ago. What did it look like? You know what? We don't really know much. And so the residents of Lake County were resoundingly interested in more educational outreach, more understanding about the cultures that walked around here before we did. And so you'll see a few of those priorities reflected in the document as well. Okay, Tara, thank you. So this is a list of all the GPAC meetings, the General Plan Advisory Committee, of which Margot, which I'm sure you're familiar with, she's one of our members. They met to talk specifically about county-wide elements. And so we've had a number of meetings because it's very important that they have time to tell us what they're thinking. And then we also had LAPAC meetings. We had about 41 LAPAC meetings within like a 2-month period. It was very intense, and I'm still so thankful about how everybody really hung in there with us. This is a very ambitious project in a very ambitious timeline, and so it's so crucial that we get the citizen input, and so I'll never stop being totally grateful that everybody has been willing to drop what they're doing and sort of pay attention to this in this crazy timeline that we have. Okay, next one. Here we go. So this is how we have switched up topic matter in the countywide elements versus the local area plan elements. Because it's one single document now, we were able to take a number of the things that would have been countywide elements and turn them into local community specific planning area elements, such as circulation or open space conservation and recreation. Those used to be countywide elements, but now they deal with the specific criteria of each community planning area. Environmental justice, of course, that's new. Public facilities, we switched that over. Land use at the very top, that is a crucial part of each community, and the LAPACs were integral in making the recommendations as to what do we want in our community going forward. There were a number of changes that we made just in Middletown's land use designations. So the importance of these land use designations is that it tells us how to zone your property. And the zoning code is what everybody looks at when they call us and they say, okay, I want to do a pizza place. Can I do this here? Can I do it over there? You know what? And we look at the zoning that tells us not only what types of uses the community wants to see there, but things like setbacks, building heights, density, things like that. So it really is the way we roll out the land use designations that are identified by the community visioning plan and the general plan. Next one, please. All right. I did not bring the very large, intimidating looking binder that is the whole set of public review elements and parts of this general plan. It's like this thick. It's over a ream of paper. But this is what it encapsulates. And I want to encourage people not to glaze over when you look at all the words on this slide, because the first 4 chapters of the general plan are countywide elements, and so they're very general. It's like a bird's eye overview. And then the ones that really matter to all of our communities are chapters or elements 8 through 15. That's our community area elements. Then the appendices are even bigger. It's a lot of backup work, and that's because over year 2, this last year, we have been working on an environmental impact report. It's required by the state since this is a large project and the changes that the community is anticipating that will happen could have an impact on the environment. And so it's this full-on environmental impact report, which I'm amazed they got done in a year, and it's really interesting to read. But it's big and juicy, and it's the way that we are proving to the state that some impacts that are going to happen from the general plan are unavoidable. That means we can't mitigate their impact to the environment to become less than significant. And the whole purpose of that is because eventually this document is going to get before the Board of Supervisors. And they have to recognize the impacts that this community visioning project could have on the environment so that they can then make the decision that it serves the community, the good of the community in order to make these changes. Otherwise, we get in trouble for just, doing things that radically impact our environment without looking for ways to mitigate them and lessen their impacts. And that's a whole bunch of plannerese, so I'm sorry, I'm trying to use English, but basically it's the way that we have analyzed all of the community visioning and all of the changes that this community wants to see over the next 20 years and how we're going to deal with that without negatively impacting our environment. Next one, please. Land use map. I kind of covered this a little bit already. This is what the community says they want to see as far as different types of land use. We really would love to see a single family resident neighborhood here. We'd really love to see community commercial or sort of a new Main Street over there. Kelseyville wants to move their medium and high density residential to be right across the street from the school because they don't like their kids walking on the side of a road early in the morning to get to school. They want to see that that their kids have more safe access. In Middletown, we've made a few changes to increase opportunities for community commercial or resort commercial in a couple of the different properties. Can't remember other changes. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. But we'll have those land use maps available when we do our next round of LAPAC meetings, which are happening in March and April. Right. This is a summary of the different draft elements. So, it's a lot of words. Basically, these are county-wide elements. And some of them are required by law, like the noise element and the health and safety element. Others are elements that we're able to do as a jurisdiction or as a county because that particular theme or that particular subject matter is a very important priority in our county. And so Lake County has 4, I think, of those. Water resources, which talks about our lake. Agricultural resources, because we're an agricultural county. Geothermal resources, y'all are familiar with that already. And I can't remember if there was one more, but anyway, let's go to the next slide, please. Because you don't have to read all this stuff. Land use, that's required. Circulation, that's how, that talks about needs that we have for the community in the future specific to not just evacuation, but easing the circulation, anticipating growth. Open space conservation and recreation, this talks about the parks that we have, the open space that we're preserving, and the way that we need to be able to supply our communities with areas where they can congregate, where our kids can play after school, different places where we have trees, green fields, things like that, that you don't really notice unless they're not there, because they're so important to the community's health and mental well-being. That we want to make sure we focus on those. Next, please, Tara. Environmental justice, I think I've talked about that one. Public facilities and services. One of the new things that's come up in this one is the need for different community resilience hubs. or community resilience centers, where, say, on our, the more hot days, the extreme weather days that we're having, we need a place where our population can go. Maybe not the whole town, but people who need to get someplace to just cool off, like our homeless population or our outside workers, things like that. During smoke events, we need a place where people can come in that has air filtration. During PSPSs, we need some place where people can come and charge their phones. So that is a new thing that's really kind of rising to the top as a priority as we respond to our changing climate. And also, one of the things we did on this process was a climate vulnerability analysis report. And that took a look at the various climate changes and how they could impact different aspects of our lives here, and sort of informed the health and safety element, which talks about what we need to prepare, how we need to move as a government, as a public entity, to meet the needs that are changing, and how we anticipate those needs to change and or increase over the next 20 years. Next, please. Oh, I kind of already talked to you about this one. We did an awful lot of environmental review. The EIR is available on the lakecounty2050.org website. I highly recommend reading it because out of all the EIRs I've read in my career, this one I find actually the most interesting. It's a page turner, it really is. Or if you can't sleep, this will do it. This will do that too. Yeah. So the environmental review, a public review of that environmental document is just as important, having that period of time for everybody to look at it and see if we got it right or if we got it wrong, did we miss something? That's just as important as the documents themselves. And so that's why all of this is available for public review. Jump in, roll around in it as much as you want. We really value your input. Next page. Next slide. Okay, so why am I back? What are we talking about? In March and April, we are holding our public outreach meetings again. We are going not just to math. Yesterday, we were at BVAC over in Kelseyville. Next week, Monday through Thursday, we're visiting Surth, Earth, Worth, Lower Lake, Cobb. Anyway, we're visiting all the municipal advisory committees. We are also we have set up a GPAC meeting on March 20th, and you are most welcome to join us. What Margot doesn't know yet is that we've already been listening to feedback from our GPAC members, and the agenda that we had tentatively set is going to get changed up because our GPAC really needs to have time to discuss each countywide element, and so we're breaking them up into multiple meetings. So just because we listen, when you tell us you need something, we're listening. It's so important that when we get to the end of this process and we end up with this 20-year planning document, we've got community buy-in. And that's not going to happen unless you have time to really read stuff, think about it, and give us the feedback that we need. May through June, after we finish our public meetings, the LAPACs, GPACs, and MAC meetings, then all of that feedback comes back to our team, and we're going to work on final edits of these documents. And then in the fall, that's when you'll have opportunity at noticed public hearings before the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors to have any other input that you have. So don't feel pressured to read all these documents right now while I'm standing here. This is just an intro. This is just a beginning stage. You're going to have numerous opportunities between now and the end of this year to have that input. The end point, the last opportunity, what is it, fish or cut bait moment, is when the draft documents go before the Board of Supervisors because they're the end deciding body. Now my favorite part. Any questions? Come on, somebody's got to give me one. Come on, Fletcher, you got to be good for one. Margot. Yeah. Oh, Thomas, can we get Margot a microphone? Oh, sorry, Thomas. Thank you, Tara.
Thank you, Maria. It might be helpful to see the general plan translated into real life. So I pulled a page from the Middletown area plan, the draft, and there's an action here, and if you can translate it into everyday terms, that'd be
I
great.
relish opportunities to translate into English.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a real practical one. So it's, track growth and ensure it does not exceed the development projections analyzed in the general plan, environmental impact report, and described in policy, blah, 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 without subsequent environmental review. So what does that look like?
Good.
Track.
Yes, so that is a new system that we haven't done the last 20 years. We're going to have to set up some of the systems in our electronic permitting system, which helps us do a number of reports. But we're going to need to start with the baseline of what has been, let's see, English. So we took all of the stuff to go into the first draft, all of the data, all the things people wanted to see changed. And that created the project description of what we're going to put into our general plan update. That project description was essential to be detailed because of the environmental analysis. And so it has baselines like the estimated population growth, the estimated increase of commercial square footage countywide, or industrial square footage. And we needed those numbers locked down so that we could talk about or assess the impacts that it could have on the environment. Those are going to be our baselines going forward. And so it's not going to be for a while because I wish, but people aren't really knocking down my door to, lay out whole business parks and stuff. But eventually, within that 20-year period, we're going to have to monitor to make sure that we're not growing past what was analyzed in our EIR. And if it is, then we're going to have to look at project specific to analyze, to do that more deeper dive to see what this project, now that it's crossing the line from the baseline that we had, what sort of impact is that going to have? Or alternatively, the board could authorize another programmatic EIR or an update or an addendum to our current environmental impact. So that's what that means in English. Yes, my pleasure. Do you want to go ahead and call on people, Tara?
Hi, Roberta McIntyre, Hidden Valley Lake. So I have a question about one of the deliverables. It's M.A.T.H LU-1.5.
Mm-hmm. I don't have that particular one memorized, but you're in
Okay.
the land use section. I got
Yes.
that part. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm assuming these are tentative currently.
Everything is tentative until the board adopts it.
Okay, so I want to call some caution to this one in particular because it states all residential development, I'm paraphrasing, all development, including residential, essentially, must have 2 access routes, period. So what that means, folks, and this is good for fire, it's really good for fire. I'm retired fire. What this means that if you have a road that is a half-mile long and you want to, and it's a dead-end road, and you want to build a house on that road, residential construction, this will prohibit you from doing that because you only have one means of access to that property. So we ran into this in Sonoma County. It became a big hot issue. We had to navigate it. And so that's something to be aware of. That's one item out of several in here that you all should be careful of. Just want to point that one out in particular because it's a big one.
This is a totally awesome example of what I'm hoping is coming from this meeting because we need that input. And what I would like to request is that you go ahead and send me an email, or actually even better, go onto that lakecounty2050.org website and enter that input in there, because that's what we're looking for. Right now, this is the best opportunity because we actually have a draft document to look at. You know, before it was all kind of more conceptual, but now we're actually reading through these pages and picturing how is this going to roll out. And so you have a great opportunity to say, no, I don't like that. I don't like this. Let's make this different. You know, this is your opportunity. It's always so much easier, I find, to review a draft document than it is to just sort of think things up in my head by myself. So thank you. You have started the trend. I'm excited.
Lisa Kaplan,
Hey,
I have a
Lisa.
question of clarification. You said that like there's a general EIR for the whole area, and you said if something goes past that, then wouldn't that be like kind of what we already have happening, where like it triggers an EIR for a project that isn't within the norm, so to speak? How is
We
it
have
different?
not been in this particular situation before because this is a new implementation action or a new goal. So, let's see. When you bring a project to planning and it's some sort of use permit, so we're going to do environmental review on it, we usually try to keep it at the lowest possible level. So if there's a category that's exempted from this environmental review called our CAT-X, we'll keep it right there. But a number of projects don't qualify for that. And so then we go to the next step, which is our initial study. And that's a checklist of about 18 different categories that are dictated by the state that asks a bunch of different questions that all center on how is this project going to impact the environment in terms of wildfire, in terms of its demand on public facilities, soils, biological resources, things like that. And we work through that, and where we identify potential impacts, we then look for ways to mitigate or address those impacts to take it down to a less than significant impact.
Right.
When we can't do it, when we can't find any way to mitigate this to less than significant, that automatically kicks it up into an EIR. So I can't say for certain that future projects that like we've developed so much that we're hitting that top development line, I can't say for certain that would trigger an EIR. I'd have to talk to my CEQA staff to see, but we're going to address it in whatever manner we need to.
Well, I mean, I think that like here in particular, we just had the MAHA project, right? And we just have this whole big thing where they had to do an EIR and then they had to do another one and all of that. And so I'm just trying to understand what you're saying in real terms, like Margot said, of like, how is this different from what just happened?
There were a number of impacts from the Gwinnett Valley project that could not be mitigated to less than significant, and that's why they did an EIR. This next one, we're doing the EIR because the general plan update requires an EIR by state law. It is deemed that large of and significant of a project by the state that it automatically, we just didn't even have to think about it. We just went straight to EIR. Yeah.
Okay, so remember that project with the oaks where there was this cannabis
at all.
farm? There was a cannabis farm.
That doesn't narrow it
outside
down
of
either.
Hidden
We have
Valley?
120 of those so far.
Okay, it was outside of Hidden Valley and it got stopped at the Board of Supervisors because they wanted to take out more oak trees than was palpable
Okay.
for everybody. So they had to go through an EIR too. I'm just trying to understand like when it gets flagged, when a project
That one,
gets
I think
flagged.
they offered to do an EIR. I don't know that they were required to, but I don't remember the exact specifics. Typically, none of our projects that we do on a normal basis end up with impacts that are not able to be mitigated. And so that's why mostly when you read our agendas, and I hope everybody's reading them regularly for the Planning Commission because they're fascinating, we normally do, you'll see like ISMND. It's an initial study with a mitigated neg deck. That means this project has some anticipated impacts and this is what we're doing to address those. Like for instance, let's say people want to develop out in the forested areas and we're protecting our biological resources. You'll see things added to their conditions of approval that are mitigations that say you can't be building this during bird nesting season, or before you do this you have to have a bird survey, or you have to make sure that this sensitive species, be it all those scientific names for little flowers and stuff, you have to like fence that off and you can't go over there during this sensitive time. All of those things address the different possible impacts that a project could have on the environment to make sure that they're not having a negative impact. Should we ever encounter a project where we have no way to address it, and it's not like planning staff doesn't just make up these things. We read biological reports done by a biologist or archaeological reports done by the archaeologists. We consult with the tribes regarding tribal cultural resources. We are leaning on experts, hydrology reports done by actual geohydrologists or licensed people who know what they're doing. We read and digest these reports and take those recommendations, then translate them into our mitigations and our conditions of approval. when we reach something, an instance where a report will say, this project, we can't lower it to less than significant, we kick it over to an EIR, but that doesn't happen very often. So we don't get projects as large as Gwinnett Valley all that often. That was a whole bunch of English. I hope everybody hung with me in that one.
Hi, my name's Linda, and I have a question. It's regarding rezoning things. Is this where we ask if things can be rezoned in certain ways?
Great question. Not exactly. Right now, so we've got two maps that really dictate land use in the county. One we are working on right now, and that's the general plan land use designation map. After the Lake County 2050 project goes to the board and they approve it or they change it or whatever they're going to do finally to get to an approval, after that happens, so maybe in 2027, we're going to then update the zoning map. The zoning map has to, and the zoning code has to synchronize with the general plan, because the zoning code is what we use as our mechanism to dictate how we take in projects, change them around a little bit, how we present them to the planning commission for approval. So like the setbacks, the height restrictions, the density, the something called FAR that I can never remember what it means, but it means basically, floor area ratio. Ah, thank you, Shannon. It means how much of my commercial building, how much of my commercially zoned parcel can I cover with a building? So different things like that you'll find in our zoning code. And so people who want rezones, first should check your general plan land use designation, because they're both available on the GIS on public. And if you need that changed, then you're going to want to attend a public meeting, either a LAPAC or a board of supervisors, things like that.
So this plan is for land use. It has nothing to do with zoning.
It has everything to do with zoning. It's
Okay.
just not zoning. Yeah, this is the one where where we're changing. Let's say you want to build an industrial plant, so you're going to need land use designation of industrial. That's general plan. It's mirrored in the zoning map as maybe M3, high impact industrial or something like that. You're going to need to make sure that whatever property you want to rezone has also the correct land use designation. So get involved now.
Okay.
Come to a LAPAC meeting or go to the Board of Supervisors, email in your request, be specific as like the address of the parcel, what it is now, what you want to do with it and why, and it'll go before the board. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then we'll rezone it for you afterwards if it gets changed in this project. Otherwise, you're welcome to apply for a general plan and rezone outside of this process. This is a really good process where you get it done for free, because otherwise it's thousands of dollars and takes a long time and it's very frustrating for you, and we do everything we can. So, and it's not guaranteed. So, yeah. Thank you. That was a great question.
I have two questions. First one deals with height restrictions generally, and then height restrictions in scenic corridors. Given the flood zones changing by the Corps of Engineers or by whoever does it, we never hear about it, but it changes. It requires that the finished floor be above a certain elevation.
Yes.
But it doesn't allow all the land to be raised. So when you measure the house, if you have a 3-foot,
BFE,
what do you call it?
base flood elevation.
A
It's a
base
very
flood
unfortunate
elevation,
acronym,
3
but
feet,
yes.
then you build your house,
Yeah.
and you want to do a 2-story, and you want to put a 612 pitch roof on, you're out of luck.
Unless you apply for a minor use permit for an overheight structure.
How difficult is that?
It costs some money, takes some
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And hopefully
So-
you're good with your neighbors so they won't come and object.
It's a gotcha that you don't know about. If you buy a piece of land, you think you can just go out and build a house. Well, it's
Right.
not that easy.
Right.
My second question deals with parking, and I've been badgered by friends in town about parking. We have a parking issue in town, not only parking on the street for our businesses, but parking as it relates to new construction, the requirement for new parking, some of it is so out of line, I say out of line from a developer standpoint, that you can't build. The
Right,
lot.
because it's very expensive to have land with nothing on it except a parking lot.
Well, especially when it's right downtown.
Yeah.
We have lots downtown that basically cannot be built on because of parking restrictions. And, you know, if you have an X amount of 1,000 square foot lot and you want to put a building half that size, you can't get it because you can't get the parking. So is there a mechanism to get a change or some kind of a permission, something that will help developers or landowners develop their land by way of mitigating the parking issue?
You have a couple different options on that one. First of all, I want to commend Supervisor Owen because she is very attentive to parking issues. As we talk about things like housing development, the Housing Action Implementation Plan, Supervisor Owen has heard the concerns about not having enough parking or having too much parking. So I just wanted to call that out. But I'll answer your question.
Okay.
Two different ways. So maybe one's better than the other. It kind of depends on what you're building. Let's say you wanted to build a larger housing complex, like a multifamily residential development. If that qualifies for density bonuses, oh good, I just remembered number one. I'll go back to that in a second. If it qualifies for density bonuses, you get these sort of things called accommodations, or I don't know. It means you get like bennies, and some of them are relief from development standards. So that's one way if you qualify for a density bonus. And that, in order to do that, that means a certain percentage of your housing has to be set aside for like low income or particular populations. Second one, relief from designer development standards is possible through granting of a variance. And so when you come to apply for your project, you would apply for a variance. Currently, multifamily residential requires a major use permit, but we're also making strides on that to lower the requirements to make it easier. One of the things that you'll find in the local area plan or the general plan document is an implementation action to work with communities to develop objective design and development standards, which will then enable multifamily residential to be ministerial or go straight to building permits so long as they comply with the design and development standards that the community has said will make this project or any project an asset and not a detriment to the community. So that's something that I'm hoping to roll out in 2027. And so two ways, either look at that density bonus or variance.
Part of the problem is downtown Middletown, we could use badly a combination like a business below, living above, residential above.
Mixed use.
Works really, really well.
Right.
But the parking is an issue.
Well, one of the
Big
things
time.
about having a house or a couple houses with commercial is that usually during the day you're not there. So when everybody's visiting the business, you're not really there. You come after the business, and that's how we sort of accommodate that. It's not a simultaneous demand on parking. We look at it more of a revolving.
Well, I'm thinking of a business below and the owner of the business living above, for instance. That would be ideal for a small business owner to have a residence above, but the parking is such a big problem in Middletown.
Well, what you're talking about actually rose as a pretty consistent asset or positive thing that people, boy, now I can't even speak English. It's getting late. The opportunity to increase our ability to have more mixed use at a limited, still small, rural kind of nature was strongly supported all around the lake. And so that is going to be reflected in these documents as well.
Good.
So if you want to talk more about parking, we can do it off-site because I got other hands up.
Okay, thank you.
Sure thing. Supervisor Owen had a question.
Just an add-on, you had brought before us some parking standards that we're looking at, and I think that kind of addressed some of this as well. We haven't completely passed it, but we've done the first reading correct?
I think we've had an initial discussion
Okay,
on it.
all
yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's
So,
part of
and
the
that will be
pro-housing.
addressing some of these parking issues. So, it's just not in the works yet, but it's in the works, it's just not passed yet.
Hi, this is Beth Kershaw. Quick thing, I have not read it, so you may have already addressed this, but scenic corridors.
Yes.
I happen to live in the far south end of the valley, and so, Highway 29 is our main frontage road. When I first moved to the county 25 years ago, there was a grant about that the county had acquired to clean up some of these areas that were in scenic corridors, which we loved and took advantage of. But when we were reviewing something recently and somebody had permitted something, they no longer had an official scenic corridor. They said, oh, the state of California isn't calling it a scenic corridor on Highway 29, but we were referring to the county scenic corridor designation. So is that addressed in this as far as the county's idea of what a scenic corridor is?
Thank you. The state does have a scenic highway designation. And I think there's one stretch on Highway 20 so far that was listed as possible to be added to the scenic highway system. But so far it has not been added. The board there's not been the desire at the board to actually pursue it. However, all of the highways they are recognized as scenic corridors, as well as a number of other roadways that preserve things like our wide open space or our views of the ridge line, things that when you're going through a rural county, you want to see. You don't want to see tall buildings right up next to the highway. It's very claustrophobic. And so we do preserve that through our scenic combining article in our zoning code, which regulates the height and setbacks of structures and possible uses in the scenic combining areas.
Sounds good, but it wasn't put in practice on an application not too long ago. But my question is, can we have it official in this document? Is there a way?
Preservation of our scenic corridors, I think you should see reflected in there. I can't remember exactly which element, but yes, it is a vital part of preserving the rural character of our county. You'll see it there, not only there in the community's vision document, but also should be synchronized within the scenic combining article. And I'd be very interested to follow up with you on where you said it wasn't done. I want to know. Yeah, thanks.
Hello, Maria.
Hello.
I'm Kate Schmidt-Hopper. I live behind Hidden Valley, and I read through to about a page 100 in the new Middletown plan document.
Dang, good job.
Excellent work. I got up to about 100 in the 900 plus pages of the EIR, so it's a lot of reading. One thing, I tried to find it just now. There's a reference to Coyote Valley Town Center. I don't know where that is. Is that something that is
We
coming?
may have taken that out, or is it still in there?
It's
we
still
had
in there.
discussions about that. Like, none of us knew where that was, but we didn't want to just throw it out. Let's talk about that at our LAPAC meetings. Because
Okay.
we shouldn't have anything superfluous, or if it's a dead project, why keep rolling it over?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what that was.
Yeah.
Is this
We also
a
referred to
not-
Horn Winery in one of these things that I've never heard of Horn Winery. So
Okay.
yeah, we're
That-
going to
I have
update
question
that.
number 2 while I got
But
the mic.
keep that, Kate, because we
Okay.
want to talk about that at the LAPAC meetings.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. I know there's conversation about dark skies, and it's something that we all appreciate, be able to go out in the summer and see the Milky Way, right? I mean, you like that, right? So as we grow, how can we make sure that human safety and I appreciate that, and roadway lighting, I appreciate that, but how do we make sure that our dark skies are not ruined by expansion.
Great.
Because that's
Very good question.
very important to me.
So typically I'll address light first. Typically, when we have conditions for projects that are going to include lighting, we require that light all be downward facing, shielded from the top, because your light isn't supposed to escape your property. So that being said, I know that there are a number of things out there, sometimes people just totally ignore it. So if you are impacted by the light on somebody over yonder, call our code enforcement office. It would be really helpful if you took pictures and gave us the time and the location of the place. But we do follow up on that. We've gone out to like Dollar General, at different people's houses who, for some reason, wanted floodlights all over the place. You know, code will address that.
No additional? I had one, you had mentioned March 20th as a
Yes.
meeting. That's coming up soon. Can you give us?
Yes,
what
that is General
date,
Plan
time,
Advisory
location?
Committee. So it's our GPAC. I think we may be starting to talk about just specifically the health and safety countywide element, but that hasn't been finalized, so don't hold me to that one. It's going to be hybrid because it's located in the Board of Supervisors, and we're lucky we can get the internet connection that we need. And so you can attend either virtually, and there will be a link on the agenda that you can find at lakecounty2050.org. And so you can attend virtually, or you are more than welcome to come over to the board. What time is it? 3? 1. It's at 1 p.m. on March 20th.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. These are great. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I know I'm overrunning my 40 minutes.
No, we've got plenty of time. Hank Lesher, I wanted to go back to the discussion about the scenic corridor, because as you know, I was working with the tribe and redesigning and rebuilding the apartments that burnt down out on Barn Street, and when we submitted something that had the same heights as the apartments that burnt down, they said, no, that won't work. It's because that's in the scenic corridor. You'll have to redesign it and have these 20-foot high roofs. And so we redesigned it and put in 20-foot high roofs, and it looked like barracks. You know, it looked like like a prison or something, instead of having nice pitches on the roof. And so, what I wanted, I guess the bottom line of my question is, can we expand the area that is not covered by scenic corridor in light of the fact that our community is expanding?
That's a good question, because that has actually been discussed at the Board of Supervisors level. One of the supervisors was wondering, how did we decide how far these things go?
Yeah.
You know, and it turns out it was some internal policy that we just had to figure out and go with over the number of years. And so we're going to look at developing a more data or realistic look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it'll be amended according to property owner preference, just because it's just like I described the open fields and the green fields and how important that is to like the community's mental health and well-being. Having being able to keep those visual open spaces and sites of our ridge lines and things that are really important to us visually is part of maintaining that rural character of the county.
Right. So I'm just talking about in light of the fact that we're growing and we're infilling, and we want the the higher density in the urban areas.
Yeah.
Then we're going to have some at least be able to build some two-story stuff on within 3 blocks of downtown.
And I think that's a really important comment that you should definitely enter into the lakecounty2050.org website or send us via email. I forgot to talk about one tiny little thing, so as soon as we finish with these questions, Shannon's going to come up and talk about our pro-housing designation. Hi again, Linda.
Hi. My question is this. I'm looking at this map. I know it says it's not a legal document. However, where the Calpine Center is, it's called resort commercial.
Oh, that's weird.
And so that doesn't make sense unless, I mean, I know it says it's not a legal document and maybe it's a mistake, but across the street at the vet, it is called commercial. So,
Interesting.
yeah, and,
Huh.
and it's in that area that I wanted to find out some things. So anyway, I just wanted to
Okay.
bring that to your attention.
Yeah, feel free
And
to reach out to me.
I will.
yeah,
I will.
I'd be
And
happy
I
to talk
want
to
to
you.
let everybody, because I know these meetings, once the speaker's done, a lot of people leave. But there's something that I want to share if people are willing to stay and hear it. Thanks.
Sure thing.
Can I ask a question?
It's up to Tara. She commands the mic.
I've got the mic. I'm in charge now.
Okay, here we go.
Code enforcement.
Yes.
That seems to be driven by something other than code violations. And I'll give you an example
I need it in English.
in
Yeah.
English,
Yeah.
okay? In English. I had a demand to mow the grass on my property all the way down and around. And so I did that. And then I drove around town, and the county owns 100 and some odd acres out here, and they didn't mow their grass. Calpine didn't mow their grass. The sewer district didn't mow their grass. Now, I spent $3,000 mowing my grass. Now, how does that work?
First, let me say thank you very much, Fletcher. That was awesome. I'm sure everybody that lives nearby was really excited that you did that.
I've never liked her, you know that.
Secondly, we do have an ongoing project that's been set aside for a little while, but community development got together a list. What is that word? Starts with a C. Anyway, we compiled the list of all county-owned parcels as well as the responsible departments. And so we're working with the administrative office regarding hazardous vegetation management on county-owned parcels specifically. But it's just been kind of waiting. We're working on developing our hazardous vegetation program, and in fact got a grant that funds part-time one code enforcement officer just to pursue that. But with 60,000 parcels, it's a daunting task. So thank you. You totally responded to the letter. We're really excited. And we are working on getting the county stuff done. I'm happy as a clam. Yeah. All right, I think I'm about done, but I wanted to, we've got this, one of the things we did in Lake County 2050 project is because this is such a good opportunity to reach out to public and get input, we piled on other projects as well, like the climate adaptation plan, the housing action and implementation plan. I'll get to your question in just a moment. And also now this pro-housing designation, which we've got a month to do this in order to qualify for a number of grants that'll benefit our housing development. And so Shannon just wanted to mention it to you and show you some QR codes. It'll just take a couple seconds after I answered this question.
Karen Jones, I have a question. I was just curious, I saw the new area. We're losing some up by 175, some area which would be tax base, to the Cobb area. Why?
It in no way impacts your tax base. It doesn't even align with school districts. It is actually more of just an intuitive, like the Cobb folks thought this, we'll take this on. The Middletown, we're like, we don't understand why this is part of the Middletown planning area. And that's basically how we worked it out. It doesn't impact anything that
Is it
pays
Reynolds?
attention to or
Is that
benefits your
area?
community.
Is that Reynolds area or is that high? It is Reynolds.
Thank
So that
you.
is tax base.
Well, but it doesn't take tax base away from you. This is only a planning area to talk about and focus on community priorities in this document.
I
Only
had brought
change.
that up actually when you presented this last year to us, and I don't know who in Middletown asked you why it's in our area, but to my knowledge, I don't know of anybody in Middletown that wants to move that line.
We covered it in the Middletown LAPACs as well as the Cobb Mountain LAPACs, and both were amenable to that change, which is the only reason why we did it. We did encounter some recommended, some LAPACs wanted it shifted where the other LAPACs said no, and we did not make any of those changes. So those did not go forward to the board. Like there was a little bit of a tiff about who got Lamson Airport. Right now it's in Lakeport. No, it's in Kelseyville. Lakeport thought they wouldn't mind it, and Kelseyville said, So we did not forward that to the board.
So Middletown LAPAC said they didn't want it, just to be
Middletown
clarified?
LAPAC said they weren't strongly opposed to it one way or the other. Yeah,
Oh,
and it doesn't change
Because I have
anything.
talked to people on that, and that's not my understanding. So I will be getting with them.
Pretty sure I didn't dream it, but yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we want to keep it. Yep.
Well, this is a great reason to go to lakecounty2050.org and put in your vote.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I got a few questions, and I bet you can guess what they are. It's all water related. Number one, I just wanted to point out the fact that we are the most beautiful area of Lake County, and I'm not unbiased in any way. But you know, you mentioned scenic 85 times in the old Middletown plan, and now it's only 25 times. We really need you to do that. It's great for tourism. It's great
You
for
want me to
everything.
put it in 60 more times?
Yes, yes. So
I'll get right on
if
that,
you can
Charlie.
do that, that'll
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah.
Before you leave, we're going to need to know when the fishing cut bait time. And now
Yes.
the real questions I got for you is we have a real problem with water. Generally, when it's down, I got an old expert over here who's been here since the beginning of time, and he knows when the creek goes dry and when the creek doesn't. What happens is we lose a lot of fish, and we do lose a lot of tourism because when the creek is empty, our town don't look as good. When it's full of water, it is good. It's extremely difficult, especially with the cannabis rules and everything else, to keep that creek full. But the problem is we're not able to get the state water board to come up here and pay enough attention to us. If you know somebody's diverting water, and they do when times are dry, we got a lot of mine shafts, and a lot of people will just push water into a mine shaft and says, oh, well, I'm not taking from the creek, I'm taking from the mine shaft. You know, there's stuff like that down here that makes us pretty unique, but we need that water in the creek, because in the future, I would like to see us have a river walk, something similar to what they have down in Napa.
That's cool.
So
Yeah.
you guys can really put more scenic in our name.
60 times. That's the goal.
I've got a proposal for that I've given Helen. Hopefully she's doing something with it. If it
Well,
doesn't work out, blame Helen.
Managing our water resources is one of the top priorities. So that should clearly resonate throughout not just the local area plans, but also the countywide
Do
elements.
you have any ideas on tools that we can use to make sure that our water stays in our creek? I mean, the people with the riparian rights, you know, they're bound by stewardship, and most of my neighbors, they're really good stewards.
Mm-hmm.
And if I did anything, if I use too much water, this old man over here will come over and tell me. All right, and that's what good neighbors do.
Right.
Okay.
And that's
Yeah.
one reason why we have continued to require hydrology reports in our discretionary permits, because we need to have that validated that the proposed project is not going to negatively impact its neighbors.
Is there anybody doing anything for monitoring creek flows officially with the county to make
Not
sure?
me, but I would defer that to Pawan. Pawan Apadihe is our Director of Water Resources, and they are much more involved in that day-to-day than community development is. But I can acknowledge and hear you on the fish kills, because at the Hitch Summit, we found out that the tribes in the bands that go out whenever they get called because our fish are getting stranded, they saved like over 25,000 young hitch fry. So it's real. Yeah.
Okay, great. Anybody else? Come on. She can answer the questions or lead you towards the right answers.
But if it's okay, I would really want Shannon to catch you before you all run out of here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Shannon Walker-Smith. I'm Deputy Administrator at Community Development. And as if giving you the general plan, your local area plan, and the DEIR is not enough, we do have one more document that we would like to request your attention on. As Maria mentioned, this is kind of a fast process for the pro-housing designation. So over the last, we have a housing element that was, the last one was 2019. And then most recently, we developed a housing action and implementation plan that outlined kind of the community's vision for the housing policies and actions that we want to do in the near term. This pro-housing designation is a state designation that started as a carrot to get communities motivated to secure their pro-housing designation, but it's turning into a stick. And we already know of one funding source that is requiring pro-housing designation, and without it, we cannot qualify. So we are highly motivated at this time to pursue our pro-housing designation, and we have reason to believe that there is a grant opportunity called PIP, which is a pilot project for your pro-housing designation, comes with some funding for housing. We believe this is the last year the PIP grant is going to be offered, and so we hired a consultant at the county, and we've been working very quickly to try to get our pro-housing designation application completed and to the state by the end of March so that we can qualify for potentially that last round of this funding. So we have yet one more document that we would like anybody that's particularly interested in housing, or really anyone, to review and give us input on as well. That timeline is a little shorter. That feedback can only come in through the end of this month. So March 30th will be the last day, or 31st will be the last day to provide your input on that. There's a specific handout on the back table that is about pro-housing designation, and it has a QR code to go straight to that documents survey. It's a very short survey, about 5 questions. All of the pro-housing designation asks us to prioritize certain policies and action implementation plans that basically we have already asked for your input on through the last housing element and through the hate process. But it calls out specific actions that we'll do in the very near term to support and promote new development in the county. So it's a set of policies that we are getting points for through this application, and we want your feedback on the policies we've selected to include in that document. So in the back, one handout on pro-housing designation as well. Thank you. Does it?
When it goes to the board, I think.
We're going back to the board on the 24th for a public hearing, but I believe we will be able to take feedback through the 31st. Any other questions I can answer about that? Any other questions about anything tonight?
I'm reading through the pro-housing designation program backside of the document you provided, and I'm not clear on whether this means that we're going to start putting high-density housing extensively in Middletown. We have recently had a problem with a very high-density project being proposed right within walking distance of downtown, and that significantly adversely impacts the single-family home type nature of our small town. Can you respond to that, please?
Sure. The pro-housing designation is a subset of policies and actions that would be impactful to the entire county, not specific to Middletown or to high-density housing necessarily. They're overall countywide policies that we intend to move forward quickly in order to encourage development. If you have something, if when you read through the policies and actions that we've selected to move forward quickly on, if you disagree that that would be a good policy for the county to engage in, we'd love to have your feedback on that. Yes, Thomas. Hi, Angela.
Good evening, Shannon. Just a quick question. Can you tell us where are the pro-housing designation documents, and is there a link for people that don't use QR codes?
There's a link on the flyer, which I know you're at home. And so the pro-housing documents are not on lakecounty2050.org. They're posted on the county's website under administration and then housing. And they're also posted on a new county website that's being dedicated to housing and economic development. And that website escapes me.
No idea.
Clearly Lake County, I can't say. If Lisa was here, I'm filling in for her. If she was here, she would know it. But you can find it on County of Lake Administration Housing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for giving us your time tonight. This has been really
Thank you.
helpful.
Come again. Come a lot.
Great crowd.
You all right? You answer questions well. You didn't get a handout, grab it before you leave, because they might leave early, I might.
I do. Consider in this area that height restriction.
Yeah. Oh, I believe so.
Maybe there's a way to give that a thought.
Yeah. And then we go. I guess the next one's approve, and then go back to public input.
Okay.
Charlie, call it back to order.
I'm terrible with names. I got lucky. What's that mean?
Call it back to order. Getting late on time. I hope so. You just about almost got me. You almost did. You know I'll call you on it.
You're my battle buddy. All right, folks, we want to get out of here on time, so call to order. Hello? Hello? Okay, the next thing on the agenda will be public input. You get 3 minutes to speak. So, please go to the mic. Go ahead.
Nanette Donato, and this is on the parking committee. We met on the 4th of March. There were 8 of us, and we had a discussion of using the proposed park at the Sutter Health lot that was donated to the town of Middletown. Our idea is to include more parking in that area, and Hank Lesher agreed to do a proposal, which I believe he posted in the back. It's looking like it's going to be more of an adult park because of the location. And so we figured if we could do a few extra parking spots in the amount of land that was given to us, then that would help, not solve, but help the parking situation in downtown Middletown. And the old rendering was kind of vague. So before you leave, if you look at Hank's rendering, and then we're also going to involve the Lars Ewing, head of Public Works and Recreation, to make sure that this all can work. Any questions? Our next meeting is April 2nd, 3 p.m. at the Stonehouse Restaurant. Everybody's invited if you want to come.
And you can also see a live rendering on M.A.T.H agenda.com. Just go to future things for Middletown. It's on the webpage.
On the parking committee, 3 members of the board were there, but I wanted to assure everyone that there was no agenda items relative to the assembly here, and nothing in front of M.A.T.H was discussed. They were there as individuals, community members only.
Thank you, Fletcher.
Linda Deal Darms. First, I want to let everybody know that on March 17th, there's a fire board meeting at the firehouse, and on the agenda is the fire tax. And it has to do with all the property owners that are paying fire tax currently. So I just want people to be aware of that. The other thing I want to say is, in the back, they're taking tallies on the name for the park. And I didn't know that was going to be happening, but one of my ideas, and obviously everybody gets to choose, but there's no description, it's just handwritten, and it's Middletown Gateway Park. And it has dual purpose. We are the gateway to Lake County, but also Middletown Park is the gateway to senior services, to the learning from the library, and to community. We have our community gatherings there. We have our farmers market. So it highlights all those things within that name. So that's what I wanted to share. Thanks.
Thank you, Linda.
Good evening. My name is Julia Bono. I'm speaking here today because I care deeply about how we use our limited public land here in Middletown. I've just heard that we want to be paving paradise and turning it into a parking lot. Well, I'm pretty incensed about this. I want to be very clear. There is no demonstrated parking shortage in downtown Middletown. No data has been presented to the best of my knowledge, no counts, no peak hour studies, no business surveys. Without any factual evidence, the claim that the community needs more parking and therefore we have to destroy a public park that is a property that's been purchased for a public park is simply not supported. What is supported by both resident feedback and everyday experience, of which I have much, is the need for walkable park amenities. Many of us live within walking distance of this site, but probably a lot of the people who sit on this board don't. And so they don't understand that in Middletown we like to be able to walk to facilities. Many of us live within walking distance of this particular site. Many of us have dogs. Many of us, seniors, renters, families, would benefit from a safe, accessible dog park that we can reach without getting in a car. It is not safe for us to walk to a dog or anything to a trailside park. We have to drive there with our dogs in the car. Muddy feet in the back seat, something we'd like to avoid. So prefer to walk to a dog park. A dog park is not a luxury. It's a public health and a community building resource. It reduces car trips, it increases safety through positive daily use, it supports seniors and people without yards, and it strengthens social connection. It also aligns with the original spirit of this land being used for health and wellness, not for additional pavement. Turning designated park space into a parking lot is a travesty. It is a permanent decision that benefits very few people. Creating a walkable dog park benefits the entire community of pet owners in this town, and it activates the space in a way that reduces nuisance issues far more effectively than an empty lot. Right now, we have people allowing their dogs to run around in our park without leashes. Okay, there's a leash law in Lake County, but we still have that. We'd prefer to have a contained dog park where people can let their dogs run without being off leash and potentially running into the Highway 29 and being killed. Creating I urge the board to reject the parking lot proposal soundly and to support a downtown dog park that reflects what residents here, people who actually live in Middletown, actually need and value. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe item 9 this evening addresses a dog park?
Yes, it is, but it's something on agenda for a committee. So if she wants to be on a committee, she can. So we are going to address it. It's just not It's not the same park as the Sutter Park. That piece of property was given to us by Sutter Health to have a clinic. And so we tried to orientate it towards the needs of the town and what we needed. We need parking, and of course, Sutter Park may end up paying for the entire park if we do something that's conducive to a better health or a healthier. So that's why, and in the February meeting, what happened was there was a lot of talk about how having a children's park near a bar and a liquor store was not the best idea. We came up with an adult and seniors park here, and then we'll do something for the kids in Square Park if necessary. And then I believe that Fletcher has an idea for a dog park that, and we'll call for a committee for that one, if she wants to be on it. So just to keep the peace, folks. It's my first day. So, all right. Anybody else? Okay. Come to the microphone.
Come to the
please.
microphone.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, I'm Melissa. And my question about the proposed use of making that Sutter Park a senior exercise park, is there, like, would kids be, if kids end up going there and using the equipment, is that going to be monitored? Are they going to be excluded? How is that going to be handled?
Go to Math Agenda.
Okay.
math-agenda.com. You can see how the equipment's used, and you'll get a good idea.
Okay.
When I was in Singapore, I had a young Singaporean nephew of mine go through each one of the machines so that when I had this question, they could see it. So you can see real-time videos. And he loves America, and he wears a Olympic USA shirt, so make sure you know that.
And I believe this is correct. Younger people would be precluded from using the equipment.
Of course not. Of course not. We're not the park police. No. So I have a quick one too that I wanted to put out there because we're going to head on to other stuff. I kind of hinted at a proposal. I have a proposal to make sure that we have water in the creek year round, and I want to put it on future items later. Just so you know, that would be my 3 minutes if I could still stand up there like all you guys. I just want to be like you. Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Hi, I just wanted to talk about the Sutter property that's been donated to us. And I was at I attended this is the first parking committee meeting that I attended. And they asked me if I would draw up something kind of professional looking rather than the thing that we had for creating some parking and also creating an adult exercise arena. And so they had originally they had given me a picture that had a 50 by 50 for the adult exercise arena, and the rest of it was all parking. So I created a 52 by 86 adult exercise arena, and then 62 parking spaces. I personally don't think we need 62 parking spaces myself. I tend to agree with Julie on that we should actually do an assessment and see, how many parking spaces we really need, and then and the other thing is that I put a call into Lars. Lars is the person who's actually been in touch with the Sutter and has the parameters of exactly what they're looking for. See, it's kind of vague right now, so we don't really know what to design for and present to them. And then they go, no, that's not what we wanted you guys to do with that. So we need some more feedback from Sutter, and and we can also ascertain how much parking we really need and create more of the health and fitness arena. So it's a beginning of a conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah. And there's no bad ideas, folks. If you got a good idea, bring it. Our hope is that we get this done because this has been on the agenda for a long time. Is anybody else? Okay. Oh, one more? Okay.
I just want to voice my opposition to converting the park into a parking lot. I mean, that Joni Mitchell song is not a, it's not a game plan, it's a song, pave paradise and put up a parking lot, no. It should be a dog park, it should serve the community needs. We don't have a dog park. We've got signs for a dog park in this park, which is not a dog park. So, you know, where's our dog park? How come they put up the signs and then there's not really a dog park here? So anyway, I just wanted to, voice my opposition for that.
Thanks,
That-
brother. I appreciate
Thank
it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
If
really.
there- if I can be reminded of anything else I missed, no? All right, thank you.
Okay. All right. The next thing on the.
Charlie, I wouldn't mind having my 3 minutes if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead. Take your 3.
Somebody mentioned the dark skies earlier. I'd like to have for a future agenda the possibility, I know there's some dark skies designation that if there was enough people interested in, we might want to start a committee that might want to do some investigating on that. To me, the quality of life is this beautiful dark sky that we have. That in addition to, a lot of this is nuisance light. I'd like to maybe also add to an agenda is potential nuisance, odor nuisances is also from cannabis. So those would be things that would maybe we could be incorporated or bring up or mention in this area plan, you know, that this is something we might want to chase down. So if we could maybe put that on a future agenda item and or we'll maybe try and have it discussed with the land, you know, use section.
We can add that in number 9. Just
Okay.
hold that until number 9.
Okay.
Okay?
One quick,
Go ahead.
I want to respond to Elizabeth's comments about dark skies. I did the development out at Valley Oaks, and we submitted all the lights and everything to the Planning Commission that were approved. But we started getting feedback on too much light. Well, we want to be good neighbors, so what we did, we took and put shrouds in where it diverted the lights down. And the rest of our project, having to listen to my friend about lights, we're going to put the same thing, only solid tops so no light will shine up, and lower watt bulbs so we have a dimmer light. There's no requirement or regulation in the county on what too much light is. I guess you find out when people start complaining. And that's a hell of a way to run a railroad. But we mitigated ours by just dampening the light and doing it that way. And then our new ones will be shrouded and lower watts. And if you're interested in dark skies and all that, and I am now because I have to be, there's all kinds of mitigation measures you can take to help keep the dark skies.
Yes, I understand that, Fletcher. What I was referring to was a specific designation for dark sky city and/or county. My husband and I, we were just traveling not too long ago through Flagstaff, and it was really cool to be able to be up in the mountains and really see the night sky. Just here now, being in my backyard, I can look up and I can see the glow of the casino. And I'm saying I can see the glow from Napa. So the idea of if you really have a designated area, you might need to take it serious. So I just thought that maybe it could be a topic of discussion if people were interested in that.
Perhaps the county ought to write a regulation. How many lumens so far from the light can it illuminate?
Right, and
There are no regulations.
Yeah. Well, let me add that for a second. When my kids were small, they learned astrology at the park out here at the end of town, going down 175. I would definitely say we have to reserve that area because it seems to be a place where we do have that. So no matter what happens, I would like to see something in that direction. Because they remember that park because they learned about the stars. They don't remember the park because of anything else, that we had such wonderful people. Anyway, Thomas is breathing down my neck. We got math discussion and we got further agenda items. We're just going to do dog. I just want to make one quick thing on math discussion. Math, mathtownhall.gmail. The Gmail account is back up. Send the messages. We'll get it. Okay, this area plan is important. If you got some wild idea, we'll try to float it. We'll try to get it. We only got until the 30th of April to say what we want the county to do. So everything you can do to do that, get it to me. Okay, so it's real easy for me. Once you get it to me, I just dump it on Helen, and then she's got to carry it to Lakeport. Okay?
I mean, I still did get a bunch of rejects.
Say that again?
That's not, it's not totally
Just if you have an idea for the area plan that you want, just send an email, Fletcher. Okay? Okay. Yes, the area plan.
And for the, yeah, and for the general plan, and for those of you that don't mind, I would like to see the portion of it that Karen Jones brought up about adjusting that line down south. I'd like to keep it where it currently is in the I think it was done in 2010 or something. So I'd like to keep it there. I don't want to lose territory.
Yeah.
So if we can please write in on that as well, and bring that forward and give some support for not reducing our scope of influence within the Middletown area.
Are you talking about
Please.
Reynolds Systems area?
Yeah, what's in that area? It would
Okay.
exclude, it would put Reynolds System, that's just one landmark.
Yeah.
It would actually move that line, the Cobb line, down to Socrates Mine Road.
No, that's,
So that's a pretty good cut.
yeah, that would hurt us because
That would hurt us, so
if we
I would
want
like
money
to.
or something, you can go ask for it.
Well, it's just, I can't see, I know that they want it, they want part of our properties, part of our ground, and I don't want to give it.
So tell us again where you want us to send
I want to
that.
keep it, it will be on your comments that they had mentioned,
Comments
yes.
to the email or comments to the area plan 2015?
On the 2050
Yeah,
plan.
and then if you want to CC me in that too, in your
All
comments,
right,
but.
and I'll bring it up. I'll put something together and put it on the webpage also.
Yeah, because if we want to keep that, we need to fight for it.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, future agenda items. We don't really have any extra time.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
we need the approved minutes, item 5.
Oh, yeah, 5.
Okay, yeah. Can we approve the minutes for February?
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
Okay, that's good.
You need to vote?
All right.
Do you need to vote?
Yes.
All
What-
in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed? Thank you.
All right. Next month, dog park is definitely going to be in there. I'm gonna make sure we have at least a half an hour to talk about dog park. And if Fletcher could speak 1 minute about a dog park, he could do it now. 1 minute, all right? 1 minute.
Okay, whatever you say. Dog park. Yes, I'm a dog person. I love dogs. I'm not exactly a dog park person, but people have asked me if we could do a dog park. I've gone and talked to most of the neighbors that live across the street on Dry Creek, and they're not opposed to it at all. As long as if we started building soccer fields and baseball fields, they had a little different attitude toward that, but a dog park, they're in favor, so we won't get any feedback from there. At the next meeting, I'm going to ask you to allow us to form a committee that will investigate dog parks. There's all kinds of dog parks. There's little ones, big dogs, little dogs, all kinds of things. So with your permission, the people that want to be on the committee, I'll work with any way I can. The only thing I ask, if you're gonna be on the committee, it's a working committee. There are no backsliders and no free rides.
Good. Les, you're up. Time's up.
Thank you, Fletcher.
Time's up.
Mr. Chairman. Don't,
I love you. Please have a seat.
don't pee on my head and try to tell me it's raining, okay?
All right, I got a quick
I
one.
withdraw from the dog park. I withdraw the motion to dog.
The secretary has something real quick that she has to go.
Just covering correspondence really quickly. So we have, let me pull it up. So email from Ben Borgens about wanting to start up that committee that we had talked briefly about last month for emergency response. He would like to set up a meeting for Thursday the 19th at 6 p.m. I'm going to connect with him to get a location for that, and I will email it out.
Good, yeah. And that came up in the February,
February, we briefly discussed different committees that we wanted to start, and emergency response was one of the committees. He had been brought up in correspondence last month as well.
yeah. I'd love to see that cowgirl get on that committee. The one that was speaking earlier worked in Sonoma County. Yeah. Okay, anything else before I adjourn?
Are you going to have on the agenda the vote for the park thing?
Yes, we'll be on the agenda next month, okay? We're gonna give 30 minutes to dog park next month, and we're gonna discuss all that. And also, I will do special sessions if we wanna knock this stuff out, okay? All right? Because I would like to see Helen carry as much of this weight back to Lakeport instead of discussing it here. So if we can get some serious decisions, I'll work overtime. I'll come in twice a month if I have to, and we can do this again and again and again. Because I think that's the only way I can fix some of the backlog that we have on this stuff. Okay? So flood us with what you want, and I will try to get it for you, and then we'll do some voting next month. All right? I second.
Aye.
Aye.